Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Metra AV Tech Tips Solutions. This is the part of our show, or this is our episode or our show of talking to you about specific solutions and specific products for those solutions. So this last Wednesday, of course, we talked about what a DAC was, or a digital to analog converter, and what an analog to digital converter was as well. So we're going to take the opportunity to talk about this product here specifically. This is our CS-C5ADE. And this device here specifically has both a digital to analog converter and an analog to digital converter. Did I get that right? I think I did. So what I'm going to do is talk about where to use this, how it works, and then also some of the little special things that this is able to do as well. So first and foremost, what is the CS-C5ADE? Well, to put it simply, the CS-C5ADE is an analog or digital audio extender. So you can specifically take this device and use it to take an audio signal, whether it be analog or digital, and transport it from one source in another area over a category wire, whether it be Cat5, Cat6, Cat6A, any kind of category wire, at least Cat5, and then transport it over to its endpoint, whether it be an amplifier or an AV receiver or something else on the other side. So let's go ahead and open it up and we'll show you what's going on with this piece. So we'll hit this here. All right, so this is the CS-C5ADE. We'll go ahead and open it up here. So inside of it, the first thing that you're going to see here, of course, is the manual itself. And go ahead and take that out and take a look at that. It tells you all the little specifics about it. In here as well, we have the 12 volt 1 amp power supply. Interesting thing about this one is that it is 12 volt because we're not doing HDMI signal. This is a 12 volt system, so make sure that if you do have to replace this power supply with something, give us a call. If it's under warranty, we'll go ahead and replace it for you. Or if you need to replace it with something else, it is 12 volt power on that. In here as well, we have some ears for the unit so you can surface mount this. It comes with all the screws and everything necessary. That's pretty standard, pretty straightforward for that. Just put it on the side of the unit and then you can surface mount it wherever you want to put it, whether it be behind a television or behind in a rack somewhere or something else like that. All right, from there, we have some nice packaging here to keep it all nice and safe. Take it out. Here's our transmitter. As you can get a better look at that piece there. We'll talk about all the connections here in just a moment, so we'll set that aside. Below another little piece of protection here, we have our receiver. And there we are there. And again, we'll talk about this piece here in just a second. So what is the CS-C5ADE capable of? Well, like I said before, the most straightforward portion to it of what it's capable of is it takes an analog or a digital signal and it converts it and extends it over a connection. So the first thing that we're going to see here, if I can hit the right button to make it pop up there with that, it extends an audio signal up to 1,480 feet or 450 meters. It then is also able to, it supports analog, optical, or digital coax on its input and its output, and that's really important to talk about as well. So the distance, like I said, it connects over Cat5 cable, Cat6, or Cat6A, or up from there. It's just an RJ45 connection. We have our DC 12 volt power, so it's a 12 volt power supply. It supports analog audio, so we have our two analog RCA inputs. It supports digital coax, and it supports Toslink or optical audio as well. And of course, that's a 5.1 audio source or a stereo PCM source as well. So the nice thing is that it's auto detecting on the transmit side. So if you have an analog source plugged in, it's going to extend the analog signal. If you have a digital source plugged in, it's going to extend the digital signal. The nice thing also on the receive side is that all of the outputs are hot, which means that they're all on at once, which means that you can, not only can you extend it, but you can also convert it, and you can also split it if you need to. So if you need an analog signal, you can go ahead and use the analog connection. If you need a digital signal, you can use either of the digital signal outputs, and you can still use the analog output as well. All of them are hot on the receiving side, which is a brilliant feature for this one. I'm really happy about it. With this one here, it is powered from one side. So like I said, it's a 12-volt DC power supply, and you can power it from either side. The power then goes over the Cat5 or Cat6 cable to power the other side. It doesn't matter which side you put it on. We prefer, or we recommend putting it on the transmit side, because that's the one that's doing most of the work. So I would put it on that side whenever you're doing it. Hit the next button here. Supports PCM 2.0 and digital 5.1, so definitely check that out as well. And that is digital 5.1. Whatever is, basically whatever is supported on Toslink or digital coax, this unit supports. So PCM stereo, of course, it doesn't do any kind of down mixing, so be aware of that. If you want to use the analog connection out and you're using a digital input, make sure your source is set to PCM audio or stereo audio. And then lastly, an analog stereo RCA optical or digital coax to RJ45 connector. That's essentially what this is. It just converts it there from one to the other. So we'll go back over here to this here. Okay, so where and why would you use this piece? Well, let's talk about that. So the CS-C5ADE, essentially what it is it's a way to get an audio signal from one location to another. And that's really the primary purpose of this device. It's not really intended to be a converter. However, it has that feature built into it. So let's say you have a television that has some smart apps built directly into it, some Netflix or Hulu or something else. What you can do is you can use the digital Toslink output from that TV, run it into the transmitter on this side, and then run it over the category wire to maybe a centralized distributed audio system or something else. And on that side, or say a surround sound system, on the receiving side, you could then use the digital output and use that into an AVR or a surround sound receiver or separates, however you want to do that. And that can then be processed as surround sound audio if you're giving it surround sound audio. If you're giving it PCM audio, you can now convert that over to an analog signal. So you can use that analog signal again with like a distributed audio system, or if you have a stereo system set up there, you can run that stereo audio into it. It's a great setup for that purpose there specifically. One thing that I mentioned before is that all of the outputs are hot at the same time. So the nice thing about that, if you say, for instance, have a surround sound receiver wherever the TV is and you need that audio for the surround sound receiver, well, you can use the audio there. But if you have it set to PCM, you can also use that audio in a distributed audio system. So say you have speakers out on a back patio, and usually that's in a stereo fashion, but you also have speakers in the living room which power the TV that's there. Well, you can continue to use the output of this to power the speakers inside, and you can use the analog outputs for outside on the patio. It's a great use case for something like that. So reach out to your sales rep or your distributor to find out availability and pricing. As of the recording of this episode, this product is available now. So definitely reach out if you're watching this a little while after we've released this video. Make sure to reach out to your sales rep for availability, and of course reach out to them for pricing as well. So as always, I am Adam. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us directly. You can email us at adam.rogers@metraav.com. Or you can give us a call at 386-492-8584. That's our tech support phone number here. So feel free to reach out to us there if you have any other questions about it. And like I said before, reach out to your sales rep or your distributor to find out about availability and pricing. This is the CS-C5ADE, which is just an analog and digital audio extender. And find out more information about it from there. Feel free to reach out to us directly. So I'm Adam. As always, reboot early, reboot often, don't cut your wires too short, turn off CEC, and, well, call tech support. Thanks, everyone.